This past year, a group of people labeled freaks, weirdos, and outcasts did what possibly no group with labels like that attached have ever done in the history of man. Stood on top of the world as number one. The aforementioned group is none other than the San Francisco Giants, winners of the 2009-2010 World Series. They were a group of people who reflected the perfect quirkiness and insanity of the city they played for, San Francisco, California. San Francisco has never strayed away from being a refuge for those who played outside of the sandbox while growing up. It has become a flourishing city that protects the counterculture established in the 1960s and now a must-see city remembered in the hearts of almost everyone who passes through the Golden Gate. Since the 1960s, San Francisco has made a name for itself as one of the most sought-after music destinations for artists to pass through, with Rolling Stone magazine rooted in the city and landmark venues like the Fillmore and the Bill Graham Civic Auditorium. However, currently one of San Francisco's most legendary and iconic music stations is on the path to closing its doors forever. The question must be raised, though, does anyone care? Operating from the first floor of Phelan Hall of the University of San Francisco, KUSF 90.3 has been pumping free-form broadcasting into the ears of the city since the university bought the license from Simpson Bible College in late mid-1970s. It is known for its broadcasting of below-the-surface indie, hip-hop, and rock and roll music from 12 a.m. to 6 p.m., and its cultural and community broadcasting that flushes out the evening hours after 6. General Manager of the station, Stephen Runyon, a USF alumni and professor of media studies at the school, who sparked initial interest in USF having an FM station when he started as a student in 1964, states that station, which is now estimated to be worth $10 million, was bought somewhere in the area of $2,000. Runyon, who graduated from USF and went on to receive his master's from San Francisco State University, came back to USF once the station was purchased. He also ran an AM frequency station at USF when he was a student, which turned into the student-run KDNZ when KUSF began FM broadcasting. He states that originally most of the program on KUSF was geared toward a cultural and community focus, and 6 hours a day of conservative, contemporary music was allotted to DJs. That was until someone walked through Runyon's doors with a request to broadcast a very different sound. What started the KUSF tradition, says Runyon, was a bunch of people who came to me and said, "There's this stuff called punk music, we don't understand it, but we really like it and we want to play it. Why not give us 12 to 6 in the morning?" That program would be called Harmful Emissions, and thus the station's sound was born. Moving into a broadcast time period of 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., the station called this program YTAT, which stands for Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. According to Runyon, YTAT became the first program of its type that was free-form and became the model for college radio. By 1980, KUSF was on 24 hours a day and has been ever since. Throughout the 1980s, according to Runyon, KUSF became the station to listen to for cutting-edge music. 16-year KUSF veteran DJ David Basson says, during the 1980s, we had amazing air staff that won awards for their thoughtful programming and were looked to by the rest of the country as trailblazers. The station's office walls are still littered with gold records from bands like the B-52s, the Bangles, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, R.E.M., and many others who remember the station for its participation in being the first to play the now monster status acts. In the height of the 1980s, Runyon states that even the local corporate stations like Live 105 and The Quake were snatching up KUSF volunteers to work for their respective stations and, quote-unquote, started cherry-picking our programming once they realized it was marketable and once they realized they could make a lot of money, states Runyon. From there on, KUSF received numerous awards and honors from the city of San Francisco and other institutions. June 7, 1998, Mayor Willie Brown held a Fighting Back Day in San Francisco in honor of KUSF service series for senior and disabled citizens. Brown also held a KUSF 90.3 FM stereo day in San Francisco on the station's birthday, April 25, 1998. SF Weekly has given KUSF the Best Radio Station Award in 2001, 2003, 04, 06, and 07, and 2008 Plug Independent Music Awards nominated KUSF for College Non-Commercial Radio Station of the Year. So with all these accolades, why does it seem KUSF is on the way out the door? According to USF President Father Stephen Brevet, pictured here, KUSF has turned its back away from being a college radio station and is now simply using the university as a platform to run as a legitimate radio station. Brevet states, "We're in the business of educating students to be broadcasters. Universities are not in the business of running radio stations." Brevet went on to say KUSF does not really have much direct connection with students. Brevet's stance holds some merit. KUSF has a volunteer group that is estimated around 200 community volunteers, in which Runyon states only 20 or 30 of those volunteers are actual students. Even Runyon puts KUSF's demographics somewhere entirely in the range of 24 to 35-year-olds. Runyon believes this has to do with USF's media department's lack of focus on broadcasting, citing only one audio production class and a high tuition process, forcing students to search for jobs that actually pay. Runyon states, the media studies program has changed and we don't train people for radio anymore. Without more support from the department, we're not going to get more students. With the cost of education at USF, so many students can't work for us for free because they need a paid job. We could go back to all students, but we will be on 6 hours a day. And Runyon firmly believes, quote-unquote, we are a better radio station for not being student-run. Trust me. USF is currently in the midst of plans for heavy renovations, plans that come with heavy price tags. The new $50 million Center for Science and Innovation will break ground once students leave for May in the summer. Phelan Hall, where KUSF is and has been situated since its inception, will undergo much-needed renovations to fix plumbing problems soon as well. However, the issues go beyond simple plumbing problems. USF has been battling a housing crisis in recent years to fit its new record incoming classes, and in the process of moving the campus bookstore out of Phelan's basement to a lot more area for future dorms. Along with the bookstore, the campus newspaper The Foghorn has already been moved from Phelan, as will campus ministry, according to Foghorn articles in the last few years. Runyon's sentiments are that Prevet's actions are purely money-driven. This president appears to think of us as only a sellable asset, says Runyon of KUSF. That appears to be one thing these men can agree on. KUSF is worth quite a pretty penny. In this new intensified broadcasting generation, it is hard task to find an FM frequency to purchase. The reality now is that it takes a station dropping out of the race for another group to take over. Runyon states the value of KUSF is around $10 million, give or take, but believes his current administration will find some way to fumble the ball on the sale of the station. Runyon states the administration's motto is to buy high, sell low. The selling of the station is something current DJs at the station are not looking forward to or even aware of. Much of the news of the station being moved or terminated in the last few years have been rumors, prompting Runyon to say the current administration is quote-unquote very sneaky. A.J. Curtis, 48, who has been on the air in KUSF for the past 9 years, says the only way KUSF can be saved is to incorporate more of the media studies programming to radio. Curtis says there must be a retooling of the media studies and communications areas to create major and minor degree programs worthy of major university. It would mean expanding, not contracting, the radio, television, and print media areas to reflect real-world applications, says Curtis. David Basson, who has been with the station for 16 years since 1982, has mixed feelings about the station leaving campus. Basson asked whether or not he believes KUSF can survive off campus, stated, on one hand, being off campus might be great if we're not under the Jesuit microscope because of proximity. I don't see them giving us any room to expand on campus, and we desperately need a bigger studio, newer, better equipment, and more storage space. There's pretty much nothing we can do if they want us to move, says Basson. Even with the surprisingly low amount of student DJs currently on air at KUSF, student DJ Michelle Rizzio, 20, who spins under the moniker Cellbot, says that KUSF offers a great amount to the DJs who go to school at USF and live on campus. Rizzio states, as a student, it means having something on campus that fits me as an individual, have my own group of people that get along with me and have the same attitude as me. I guess like a more punk rock version of sorority, says Rizzio, a first-year transfer from Palm Springs. The rumors in the last couple of years have been that the station will be moved from USF's campus to another destination near Fort Mason, though now the selling of the station seems to Prevet's main option. Student Chad Hyman, 20, who goes by DJ Cupcakes on air, states that even if the station is moved and not sold, he would most likely cut his ties. Hyman states, in my opinion, if KUSF were to move off campus, it would be very likely that I would discontinue volunteering at the station. As a student who juggles school and interning, I feel that having to take the extra time to travel off campus would be too difficult. Prevet asserts that he's not in favor of discontinuing radio on campus, but say that he is looking for something more along the lines of USF's television channel, USF TV, a student-run television station on campus. Asked about KDNZ, a student-run station that closed down last year due to lack of interest from audiences and staffers, Prevet stated, "We still have that, right?" Wrong, Father Prevet. Runyon does not see much substance in the parallel between KUSF and USF TV in the first place. According to Runyon, quote, we produce more in a week than USF TV does in a semester, citing KUSF's 160-hour-per-week programming compared to USF TV's production of about 3 hours per week of material. The future is the cult station isn't solidified, but when asked whether or not something would happen to the station in the next 5 years, Prevet answered, quote, I hate to get on record, but yes, something will happen in the next 5 years. The status will change in the next 5 years. Whether or not this is economical, political, or simply a matter of space, it appears KUSF will meet its maker in the next coming years. Whether or not that has greater implications on the local San Francisco music scene is yet to be seen. But for this stalwart station, which has broadcasted too many hours to count from the hilltops of USF, the day the station closes its doors will be a ballad never heard on its airwaves. The story and photographs were supplied by myself, Chris Crowley, a USF journalism student and media studies major at the University of San Francisco, and we'd like to thank the staff and DJs of KUSF 90.3 FM for providing such great feedback and being able to grant their time to me to let me talk and get this story. For more information about KUSF, you can go to www.kusf.org. And if you want to hear programming on KUSF that you missed, go to www.kusf-archives.com. Thank you for listening, and this is Chris Crowley signing off.